Hello, the internet. Welcome to another episode of
80-Bit Podsmash,
where your gaming goes to grab a beer.
We're your hosts, Penguin and Termite, and today is a very cool episode. Happy Valentine's Day.
It is the week of that.
It is, yes. It will be. This episode will be airing a few days before Valentine's Day. And so, as a special treat for our viewers, we have brought on a couple of relationship experts.
Which you may have already heard giggling.
To talk about relationships in video games today. Our relationships experts, we call them that because, well, they probably have to have dealt with the most difficult relationships that you can imagine. Because they're our own wives.
They are married to us.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Penguin
and Termite.
As a couple. Two couples.
Yes. So, I will introduce Mrs. Penguin. It is my wife, Macy. Macy, do you want to say hi?
Hello.
And Alex, do you want to say hello as Mrs. Termite?
Hi. Hello.
All right.
Awesome. Yeah, this is going to be a fun episode, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah. We're hoping to, have a few more guests on, and who better than our wives to talk about video games and relationships with.
Yeah.
Yay!
Woohoo!
It'll be good.
So I've been married for going on 9 years this year. How long have you been married?
Wow. We'll be 4 years in August.
How long did you guys date? Maybe I should ask your wife that.
Is it an on-again, off-again romance?
Yeah.
Where
actual
hearts were broken?
Yeah, actual dating. We dated for about...
Committed.
6 months to a year? 6 months till we were engaged, roughly, and then we were engaged for a year before being married.
Cool.
So, year and 6 months. But we had been friends for about 4 years at that point, and then we have known each other our entire lives, so,
No, I was going somewhere with that.
Yeah.
I assume you never stopped playing video games while you were in the process of courting, dating, marrying Macy, right?
There was a time in college where I played fewer video games, but...
That's because of school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay, I never stopped playing games either.
Okay, I never
But I had
stopped.
school.
Yeah.
Like, when it snowed, I still played games.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's no school.
And when I was sick and tired of doing homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Procrastinating and yeah. Okay, cool. Just making sure that we are our audience is aware that these women have spent years with us as we have played video games. We never stopped.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Never stop, never stopping.
All right. So we have a new segment in our show that we're workshopping and hoping it works out pretty well. And we call it Favorite Things.
Favorite Things.
Favorite Things. We don't have a cool intro for it yet. Not like our rap horns for DLC.
Burr, 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 burr.
No, you're too soon. It's for DLC.
I get that a lot.
So for Favorite Things today, I think we'll forego ourselves and let our wives talk a little bit. So, ladies, favorite things we like to talk about, just whatever we're into this week. Like, whatever thing is our favorite thing this week. So it could be, like, something you've rediscovered. Like, oh, I listened to this music that I haven't listened to in ages. Or it could be a show that you used to watch and started watching again. Or it could be a book that you're reading, something new that you're into, a TV show, a video game. Not likely, but you know what I mean. So just what's your favorite thing this week?
I'll go ahead and go first. This is Macy talking. I have reintroduced my love of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
What?
Yeah!
That show was awesome!
Okay, it's on Amazon Prime.
We need to watch it.
Get on it.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and Salem the Talking Cat actually reminds me of your cats. So,
awesome.
It's pretty exciting. But yeah, that's one thing I've started doing this week is rewatching season 1 of that.
Nice. Alex, what's your favorite thing this week?
What you got?
So, I am really into Stormlight Archive series right now.
Yeah.
Awesome fantasy series. I started it over Christmas break, and I'm on the 3rd book now.
What?
I just started Oathbringer.
My wife
which
likes
is
to
the
read a
3rd
lot.
book in the series this week, and it's awesome. Like, I can't get enough of it. So,
also, can we just say that my favorite thing is like the watered down magical version of Alex's favorite thing?
They have very little similarities.
Is there magic in the world?
Okay, there's magic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give
Then
you
it's
that.
watered down.
I just want to see, like, Sabrina summon a shard blade and just, like, take out a chasm fiend. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. All three of us,
all
Penguin,
reading
Termite,
it.
and Termite's wife are all reading Stormlight Archive right now, but I'm like way far behind. Like these people read so much faster than I am, and
I'm not even at the halfway point yet.
well, of the first book.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I'm not that much farther behind you, but
Yeah. We're hanging in there.
but compared to Alex, we're like, oh, these books are like thousands of pages long, and I'm sitting here at like, page 300, and that's
To
like,
be fair, the very first thing that we do whenever we have free time is
play video games.
exactly. So there's that.
All right, so that wraps up favorite things. We'll be
Sweet.
back next week with Penguin and Termites' favorite thing for that week.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever that happens.
Whatever that is, whenever
Yeah,
that is.
it'll happen.
Yeah. So now we'll move on to our next segment, which is downloadable
content.
Yeah.
Bow, 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 bow.
Our viewers know this.
Yes.
Our listeners know this better as DLC, and it is our a game that we like to do, a sort of sub-discussion or mini-discussion before our actual discussion for the day. So, the game today is we're playing the couples game.
Uh-oh.
Too cute.
Except it's going to be a little one-sided because we're the hosts and we want to test your knowledge of us without having to actually demonstrate our knowledge of you.
Ooh,
So,
I didn't even think about that. It is one-sided.
a little one-sided today.
Are you ready?
But we have that prerogative. It's our show. Dang it. So, how this is going to work is I am going to ask Alex 5 questions about Termite, and all relating to his video game lifestyle. And Termite is going to do the same to Macy, my wife, about me. Whoever gets the most points out of 5 wins. If you guys tie in any way, then maybe we'll have to come up with some kind of tiebreaker.
Ooh, an
question.
emergency
Yeah.
sudden death tiebreaker.
Sudden death,
I like it.
round. Yeah. All right. So, who wants to go first?
I got it.
You got it?
All right, Macy.
Oh dear.
What are Penguin Man's favorite video game franchises?
Franchises? How many does she have to list?
Oh, okay, favorite franchise.
Blizzard.
Franchise.
Blizzard.
Is Blizzard a thing?
Blizzard is a
Developer?
so I'll give you another guess. A franchise.
Mario?
That is
That
more
is a
of a
franchise.
franchise.
Okay,
yeah.
Zelda. Is
Is that your answer? Is that your final answer?
Is that a franchise?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, Zelda.
That is correct.
Ooh, all right.
Macy, all right.
Go Macy.
Took her a while to get there, but...
I didn't understand the question.
All right, Alex. What is Termite's favorite game?
Ooh, single video games?
Single video game, but if
Yes.
she gets
That
if she gets close, then
Yeah.
maybe give her some slack.
All right.
That's really hard. I feel like it shouldn't be.
Maybe I can give her a franchise too. If you get the same franchise, you'll be...
Well, franchise is Final Fantasy, but I don't know about or Zelda. I don't know. You're cheating. You're having me cheat.
I'm just.
He's making eyes at her.
He and then pointed when she said one of the
But a point
things.
in the air could mean anything.
It could mean, oh, I like that one too.
Yeah. Favorite single video game?
Okay, so if we're assuming it's in the Zelda franchise, which I'm guessing based on your cheating reaction, let's see, Ocarina of Time.
No.
She didn't listen to the Zelda episode where
well-
you clearly laid out how much you dislike Ocarina of Time.
She was
Yeah,
wrong
it's
on
gonna-
all accounts.
It's going to become very evident that neither Macy nor I listen to this show.
That's kind of the point.
Exactly.
My favorite single video game of all time is Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, really?
You did?
Over A Link to the Past?
Over every other video game ever
Don't
made.
feel bad. I would have gotten that one wrong.
Yeah, and we've been gaming buddies for years.
For like a few months.
That would have been my second guess.
Yes.
All right. Next up.
All right. So now I'm going to describe what I'm asking before I actually ask you.
Okay.
Next is, what is Penguin Man's favorite genre? Now, genre could be a shooter, an action platformer, or an MMORPG. Like, what do you think he spends the most time, or what is his most favorite type of video game?
Not first-person shooter.
Okay.
What are the other options?
There's, like, massively multiplayer online RPGs. Like, World of Warcraft would fit into that. There's
Yeah.
also, like, online RPGs, like Diablo, action.
Yeah, those
ones.
are there.
And then there's platformers that are like Mario. And then there's, like, third-person kind of action-y games, like Tomb Raider, or lately Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Those kind of, like...
I'm going to say the first option.
I don't remember what I listed first.
MMORPGs? Like World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
That is incorrect. Ooh. I love them, but I don't love them as much as other kinds of RPGs. I would have to say action RPGs, like
Well, I didn't know that was an option.
Diablo, or... Well, he listed as an option. It's fine.
Listen,
You're still
I'm-
one.
You're still winning.
1-0
Okay,
so far.
okay.
Take your lead. Although this might be a good one for Alex. Where does Termite prefer to buy his games?
Wow, that's a good question. I like that.
That is, interesting.
I don't know if I've actually discussed... I have mentioned it in the podcast, but one of my favorite places to buy games.
I know that you like to actually go in stores and look at games.
Yes.
So it's not going to be an online store. Toys R Us.
Oh, no. Sorry, that's the worst store to buy video
What?
games. Yeah, they have the worst prices. They never have anything on sale. It's horrible.
Okay.
My favorite place to actually buy them is Amazon, because they give 20% off to all pre-orders.
Well, I was
For
completely
brand
off
new
base.
games. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, you were off. Sorry.
It's okay. This is fun. This is for fun.
It is for fun.
Still
I'm not
and
having
0.
fun.
Oh, Alex.
Keep drinking your beer.
Yeah, drink more beer. That'd make it fun, right?
Sure.
All right, Macy.
Yes.
What is Penguin Man's favorite single video game of all time?
That is Zelda Ocarina of Time.
That is correct.
Ooh,
Man, that was softball. You're throwing her softballs.
I
Hey,
didn't. No, I didn't.
you asked the same question of Alex.
didn't know
That's
what
true.
franchises or genres were.
That's fair.
Listen, that's just a weak vocabulary, okay?
Oh, my bad.
All right. Does Termite prefer to play competitive or cooperative games?
Co-op.
Yes.
All right.
100%.
Point for Alex. Without
confidence.
hesitation.
No hesitation.
Wow. All right.
Sweet. Macy, what is the single most played game that Penguin Man's ever spent time on? It's like the most hours over every game he's ever played.
I want to say wow.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
That's correct.
Yay!
Probably. I didn't add it all up. I thought about going through all my characters and typing /played to see.
Yeah.
It's something ridiculous. Like,
Probably.
It would be really embarrassing to say the amount of time. Just over the years. I mean, the game's been out for,
2004.
yeah,
That's when it came out.
for that many
man.
years.
14 years.
14 years.
I guess that-
and I've
yeah.
had an on again, off again
If
relationship
she
with it,
didn't
so-
know that that's how much time, like, then
I mean, I would...
does she pay attention to what her husband's doing?
If Diablo had come out the same year, it would almost be a toss-up between the two.
Yeah.
I'd have to go in and see how much time I played.
All right.
But, all right. Alex, how many platinum trophies does Termite have on his PS4?
Ooh. I was just talking about this last night. Because it happened. I posted it on Instagram and Facebook, too.
Thanks for making me feel like the least attentive one. Because I have no idea.
Oh, I'm not even a
Guess. Just throw out a number.
20.
Whoa. No.
Is
Sorry.
it less or more?
Less. Platinum trophies mean that you 100% in a game.
15.
You've done everything in a game has to offer.
15.
Less. They're no joke. They're hard to do, and you have to take a lot
Oh,
of
I
time.
know. I've
Yeah.
seen the amount of time that you spend here.
That's what I...
That's what she pays attention to.
Yes.
It'd be close if she listed if I asked it in hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give up.
9. I have 9 platinums now. Last night I just platinumed Uncharted 2. I'm working on my 10th. I've already got it in my targets, in my sights. It's going to happen.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Next.
Macy, what video game has made Penguin Man the most angry?
Ooh, I know.
Hold up. I
Because
need to think about the actual answer.
It's in my memory.
I know the
It
answer to
was
this for you.
a Zelda game,
chime in
and
on
it's
that.
the one that was on the Wii with the handheld remotes. And it was trying to do the darn song with the handheld remote, and
I know exactly what game you're
and the
describing.
light wouldn't register on the TV. So he's just like doing crazy things with his hand and just throwing the.
My roommate
Yeah.
filmed it. It was pretty funny.
Yes,
There's a
we
video
need
on
this
there.
video.
Yeah. We'll
The
have to find
internet
it and get
needs
the
Penguin
clip.
Man's video.
Do you like how I knew that before you knew that?
It's not actually the correct answer.
Oh, come on.
Unfortunately.
Oh.
Good guess, only because there's film evidence of it. No, I'd probably say the game that made me the most...
Hang on, wait. What's the answer? What game was Macy describing? You can't leave the audience hanging.
Oh, she was describing The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword.
That's what I thought.
Which,
The harp.
Which,
Yeah.
yeah, stinking
Yep,
harp.
stinking harp.
It was annoying. I'd say the most angry I've gotten was probably actually Killer Instinct, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one?
It was back in my days when I was a kid and I was
Super Nintendo?
frustrated and it was super hard.
Macy's not gonna
didn't
know
know
that.
that.
N64 through the controller. Well, you asked the question.
That's true.
I have to come up with an answer.
I should
didn't
have
know the
prefaced it
answer.
with "in your life," like the time that you guys were together.
Oh,
what game has made
yeah.
you the most angry?
Well, yeah.
Would she have been correct then?
I don't
No,
know.
just to spite me.
I don't know. Maybe, but it's not the correct answer based on what you
There is a
asked.
point.
So no point. No point for her.
All right.
All
That's
right.
the final question.
Final question. Who is Termite's favorite gaming buddy? Or someone that he specifically plays games with? Like, who does he love to sit down and play a video game with? I don't actually know the answer to this. So
I don't either. So this is curious.
Termite would never
Come
pick
up with
a
an
favorite.
answer. I'll take
He's
it.
too much of a people pleaser.
It's a trick
That's why he doesn't know the answer.
Yeah, I didn't know the answer. I think you get a point for that.
I think so too. I like that answer. That's
But
the
you
best
had
answer.
I mean, me, maybe? I don't know.
that is by far, that would be the trump card. If anyone came to me and wanted to play a game, you would. No one else matters except for my wife
Aw.
when it comes to playing games.
Me and Tommy
And other things
come to
too.
you and say, please play video games with us.
I feel special.
You should.
How many points did everyone get?
I think Macy got 2 and Alex got 1.
No one was keeping track.
Crap.
Our Podsmashers, tell us who won!
Wait, favorite franchises, favorite genres, favorite single game, most hours played, and what made Dan angry. So angry.
I got like 2.5.
Yeah. I think it was 2, and then you got 2. It's actually 2 and 2.
They tied. Oh, do we need to do a lightning round? Do we need to do
Sudden death.
Sudden
What
death?
They have to play Smash.
Okay, go.
Like the time it would take to set that up would be ridiculous. Now we have to come up with a question on the fly.
I'm thinking we do like a lightning round, just a general question, and they have to get the correct answer. Something we
like
both know.
trivia?
So whoever, like Jeopardy style, like whoever gets it first.
Ooh, like
Yeah.
a trivia question. Then.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
What do you want to do? Come up with something.
Who
Surprise me.
was Zelda named after?
A princess.
The character Zelda was named after a real life person. Who was that real life person?
Oh, the daughter. The guy's daughter who invented it.
The wife of F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Boom!
Alex knows.
Alex
What's
wins the
up?
couple game. Wow, good one. That was a good one.
Good pull.
You were kind of
You were there. You were almost there.
well, but kind
It's
of
a relative.
Yeah.
Well, but like she said, the daughter of like Robin Williams named
Yeah,
his daughter
that's also
Zelda, but like
Zelda.
in reverse.
Yeah.
Like he named it after Princess Zelda,
Right.
his daughter. So that is downloadable content for the day.
Bow, 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 bow.
Brr, 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 brr.
But I think Alex had something to say about the angry part when it came to me.
Oh,
She
I
was
know
like,
what
I
your
know
answer
that.
is
What
for
is that? I want to hear
Shadows
this.
of Mordor.
Oh god.
You got mad at that game?
You have no idea.
I have literally never seen him that mad before. Like, he doesn't get mad very often. But there was lots of yelling and cursing, and
It was bad.
it was scary. I was legit scared.
For those of you guys who have actually played it, it takes hours upon. It took me 3 hours. I timed it 3 hours to set up the trophy to get a level 25 relic. Is ridiculous because you can't kill a war chief that is highest level because they'll just give you an epic one. It doesn't count. You have to get level 25, and there's a bunch of steps you have to do to like set the scenario up. It took 3 hours to get it, and when I finally got there, an ally NPC killed the war chief. I was furious. After an entire night of playing games, I didn't achieve anything. Nothing.
I'm just gonna need to share your notes. Yeah, there we go.
I got you.
That's frustrating. I feel frustrated.
Well, that's
for
why
you.
I got mad. I mean, it was forever ago. You don't have to feel bad, or I'm not looking for empathy.
Cool.
It's my own waste of time. I got a platinum though.
Yay!
Nailed it.
All right, we are going to move on to our topic for the day. Today, we just want to talk to our wives, ask them questions about their thoughts on various questions we have about relationships and gaming. We are married, but they've also been dating us when we were gamers, so they kind of have the whole gamut. So we're hoping this is beneficial for any of you out there who are either women and are married to gamers and want some insight from other fellow women, or are men out there who maybe are courting women that aren't gamers, or maybe they are, and you just want a little bit more insight as to the woman's mind. So we're going to mine the greatest women's minds that we know. And we're just going to start with some questions. So we'll make it easy. We'll start off with your what we call elevator speech, which is just a general, who are you, what do you do?
And 200 words or less.
If you could fit it in a Twitter profile. So why don't you start us off, Macy?
All right, so I'm Macy, and I am a speech language pathologist. I work in a middle school, and I am married to Daniel, and we have a dog, Gimli, and I'm from Virginia. I have so many fun things I love to do. I like to ski and read and listen to audiobooks on my commute.
Ski?
I ski,
Yeah.
but there's no mountains around here, so
No.
I don't get a lot of prep.
We live in a swamp.
Yeah.
It's part of Virginia, just a swamp.
What about you, Boo?
I am a medical laboratory scientist. I'm a mom, and I'm a grad student. So I do a lot of things, but when I'm not doing those things, I like to cook and I like to read particularly big fantasy novels, like the one I was talking about
Yes.
earlier.
How did you guys meet us? why don't you tell the Pod Smashers how you guys met us? Give us the short version. I know we kind of got into it a little bit earlier ahead of time, but
My bad.
tell us your short version. But I said it, so we can tell her.
Let's let Alex start this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, tell us how you met Termite.
Okay, so I met Danny at community college, our little local community college here, and we had a couple of classes together. And I sort of knew who he was, but was in another relationship, and then another semester came along, and I was out of that relationship, and so we're sitting in class, it's the first day, the teacher says, look around and see if there's anybody that you know so you can compare notes and stuff. And Danny looks back at me because I'm the only person he's ever seen in that class. We don't really know each other. I don't think we've had a full conversation at this point, but we know who each other is. He turns around and I winked at him just to let him know, hey, I recognize you.
Gave you that wink.
But apparently he took it as something a little more forward than what I meant, which turned out awesome. We started talking, and then he eventually ended up breaking his leg or his ankle halfway through the class that semester, and he had to drop the class. And then once he left, I was like, oh, I miss him. He was a really nice guy, and I really wanted to get back in touch with him. So, and apparently he wanted to get back in touch with me too. So he gave his number to a mutual friend, and I held to give to me, which was kind of weird and roundabout way to do it. But
it's the only way I knew how. I had to get you.
I held on to that number for a while, and then I called him, and I guess I left you a message, and I got in touch with you and stalked you on Facebook, and then we met up.
We mutually did that.
Yeah.
Like, we stalked each other on Facebook,
Okay.
and then we called each other a bunch after that.
It was like over 10 years ago. It's a little murky.
Yeah.
But it was history from there.
Here we are, 9 years later,
Yeah.
with a kid and a house, and we're married.
Yeah, we've been married almost 9 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, Macy.
All right, so Daniel and I met technically when we were about 3 and 4 years old. So we went to the same church, and our parents were friends. And he never wanted to play with me. I remember that very vividly.
Jerk.
And yeah, so he was always like swinging in the trees and had like dirt on his face. So
There was
Man
dirt to roll in, and trees to
yeah,
climb.
he was like off living adventures and left me in the dust. And so our families both moved away from where we are currently living, and we reconnected when I went to school at JMU, and he was a townie there, and he had long hair down to his shoulders. Remember that? Because he wanted to be like a ninja.
Had to
That's
look like
why.
a samurai. Specifically, for you anime fans out there, Rurouni Kenshin.
Ooh, Samurai X.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
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 So, so he was definitely in the friend zone because, I mean,
That's not true.
you have met Penguin, and I got to meet Penguin Man, who is a interesting character.
Y'all, Penguin Man's real and a legend.
Go check out episode 0. We talk all about it.
Yeah, so
Macy had to deal with that firsthand.
I didn't want to date Penguin Man, but Daniel was, interesting enough. But we had an on-again, off-again relationship for about 4 years.
Cut my hair for her. She's
Yeah.
the Delilah to my Samson.
So, yeah, we finally got together when I was a senior. Weird things are happening. And yeah, so we got married from there.
Yay. That's cute. All cute stories. All right, why don't you ask the next question, Termite?
Where are we? We are at, what qualities about your spouse do you like? What are things that make your relationship work?
Why don't you start us off, Macy?
All right. I think one thing that I like about Penguin / Daniel is
Call me Mikey.
just he's very creative and passionate, and that's something that I think makes our marriage interesting, and there's not really dull moments, but that's something that I think initially attracted me to him too. And another thing that I like about Penguin that makes our relationship work is I know that he's like on my team, if that makes sense. So
Very nice.
What you got, boo?
Okay. So,
Lay it on me.
What I really like about Termite is that he is probably the most devoted and loyal person that I know.
That's that Hufflepuff coming out of me.
Yes. No, he'll do anything for you, and no matter how much I, doubt myself or doubt everything in my life, I know that I never have to doubt that Danny's going to be there for me and that he loves me, and that just means everything. So yeah. I think our relationship works because we're kind of opposite ends of the spectrum personality-wise, so I think we complement each other on a lot of things and kind of prop up each other's weaknesses pretty well a lot of the time. I mean, it makes for some disagreements and some misunderstandings, but I think overall it helps to be able to respect each other's perspectives. And is there anything else to go with that?
No, you're good. Thanks.
Is there anything else that
I think that's the Ravenclaw Hufflepuff relationship. I don't know what you guys got going on.
We're Slytherin and Gryffindor.
Wait, are
my.
you Slytherin?
No, you're Slytherin.
No, I'm Gryffindor.
You're totally Slytherin.
According to freaking my ex-girlfriend said that same thing.
I'm
according to Pottermore, I am Gryffindor all the way.
Okay, well, I'm Gryffindor, so 10 points to us.
10 points to Gryffindor.
Save.
Hey.
All right, so we're going to transition on these questions now into the gaming focus.
Yeah, and I mean, as we've said before, but to reiterate, our wives, neither of them are particularly would identify as gamers. I think Alex probably has a little bit more of a gaming background than Macy does, but even so, these are women who married us despite our gaming habits. So with that in mind, what is it like dating or being married to a gamer? What is it like having a relationship with someone who identifies as a gamer and who spends much of their time playing games? Alex, why don't you start us off?
Well, I think it's similar to, anything that someone would be interested in. There's some guys that identify as like hunters or golfers, or, there's lots of hobbies people can have and that make them who they are. I mean, I have things that make me who I am. So, I think it's important to accept that as part of who they are, and just to, I tried when we were first married to be a nice wife and be interested in the things my husband was interested in, but I guess eventually, we had to kind of be honest with ourselves and, realize we were each going to have our own things that we do. And that's okay. So,
all right.
I don't know what else to say.
Yep. Yeah, that's fine.
What do you think, Macy?
For Daniel and I think that it was interesting in the beginning figuring out how we could spend time with each other while he was playing video games and he wanted to play video games, and so he would always try to get me to play them or watch him. And we did kind of get into a nice groove of being able to do the things that we liked and not needing to completely involve one another, being able to have introvert time for me, or maybe it was extrovert time for Daniel if he was playing with other people. But that's been nice as we've been married. But I think that one thing that I didn't realize is that you will not see your partner for periods of time when like a new expansion comes out or a new release comes out. It's like, see ya.
Yeah.
You will not see dishes cleaned or even be joined for meals.
Yeah,
and that's just
Wild.
Part of it.
Breath of the Wild, when that came out, it was like a whole weekend where I'm just like...
Or it's like, hey, come over and bring me food because I'm playing WoW because it's an expansion. This was when we were like friends and dating. And I'm like, I don't think that he even talked to me when I was there. It was just like man sweat smell.
It was an event, okay? There was people gathered and we all got our computers, so I wanted to see you, but I didn't want to leave the cave.
Yeah. So I would say don't be offended when he's ignoring you or she's ignoring you because, sometimes it's hard to multitask. Because in games, you're multitasking too. And if your partner's talking to you while you're playing, it's just, you're not going to be able to respond quickly.
Well, with that in mind, that segues us nicely into our next question, which is, what are the pros and probably cons of being married to a gamer? What are some? You can list a handful or as many as you want, but what are some pros and cons of being a gamer? You had a pretty good role there, Macy, so pass it to you.
Yeah, I would say a pro is that gamers are relentless in their, I'm not going to say quest, but it can be a quest, but in their desire to beat the game or kill a monster or kill a boss, that's usually the right term. And so that kind of could carry over into other aspects of life, but just that dedication to something, wanting to finish something and see things through, I think that's a pro. Even if it's, starting out as a hobby, it can be definitely seen in other areas of life too. And just being able to appreciate a good story, appreciate good artwork, and the catches and the twists and stuff like that. I'd say a con is, probably being ignored at some points and the amount of time that it takes to play a game. And usually, I know for Daniel, he can get a little obsessive at times. Like, he'll binge play instead of just play a little bit here and there throughout the week. So, but that's a con, I would say.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Alex.
Okay.
Now that Dan is under the bus, Penguin Man is sitting under a bus.
So, I think I agree with Macy on the pros. I mean, Termite, definitely, I've seen that he tries to gamify a lot of things in life. And, he is a very, like I said, he's a very devoted person and a very loyal person. So I think that those aspects of his personality carry over into his gaming and his everyday life. So he's very persistent with things and consistent and dedicated. He has a lot better willpower than I do. So yeah, that's a good thing. The biggest con for me, I think, is just not getting it. Just not understanding sometimes why it's so important. Because I can't think of anything in my life to me that's as important to me as gaming is to Danny. So it's just sometimes hard to understand like why you get so wrapped up in things and to not take it personally and think, why aren't you more like me? so that, yeah, I think that's it for me.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Sweet. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea for across all interests, not just gaming in my life. Like, you don't understand why I run so much or, why I devote myself to things as often as or as much as you do. And I think it's important. I guess we'll talk about that later when you and I get a chance to talk at the very end of this. Not to defend or rebuttal, because what you guys say is totally true.
Absolutely
and valid.
True. Yep. Cool. Let's say our next question then. You got this.
All right. So, do you guys like playing video games? Why or why not? What kind of games do you like to play?
If you like to play games.
If you like to.
Hit us off, Alex.
So, I have dabbled in some MMORPGs in the past.
Yeah.
Woo! Termite got me into playing WoW when we were in college because we were living apart and it was something we could do together on the internet, and I ended up really liking it. So, over the years I've dabbled in that. It's something that we could do together, and I like that aspect of it, and it's just something fun. You can get as serious or as not serious about it as you want to, and I kind of liked that about that style of game.
What did you play when you were playing WoW, out of curiosity?
Oh gosh, it's been so long since I played WoW.
Oh, you were DPS.
Yeah, I started with the DPS. I'm usually DPS and
I remember
because it's the easiest thing to do, and no one's gonna be a jerk to you if you mess something up. So
I think you were a mage.
No, I wasn't a mage. I was
a rogue.
Whatever the archer, the hunter.
Hunter. You were a hunter. Yeah.
Do you remember what race you were?
Night elf.
Night elf hunter.
Yeah.
Classic.
So,
Macy, any thoughts?
I play Words with Friends.
Yeah.
No,
hey, legit.
I mean,
that's a game.
good one.
It's a fun game.
I like to finish things, which is why I don't like long video games. If it takes 12 hours to play, I just can't start it. It just is overwhelming.
Long is 12 hours.
What?
12 hours is
nothing.
The longer end of a short game.
Yeah, I can't do
hours.
that.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild was something like 90 hours for us to complete.
I'm very task oriented, so thinking about spending 12 hours just to finish a game is just, it's not torture to me, but it just sounds a little bit like torture to me. But one thing I do like to play is I like button mashers. I like what's the one game that I like? Where you
Soul Calibur?
Where you face another one that's just like it.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat.
Fighting
Tekken.
games.
Yeah, Tekken.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Okay, so I like fighting games. I think that's fun because I really like to win because I have no skill and then just rub it into the other person's face. They try to do all these combos and I'm like, A, B, B, trigger, la, 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 la. And it's just hilarious. And so I like fighting games, and that one that's on the The Wii.
Like Wii boxing and stuff?
Yeah, with the curly hair. The girl has ribbon hair.
Oh, so
Arms
on Switch.
Yeah.
Arms on Switch.
Yeah. I like that game too.
Right.
But I like that because I can just pick it up and I can play and enjoy it and have fun and appreciate it. But I don't feel obligated to finish the whole thing in one sitting or just finish it at all. I can just pick it up when I want to.
Yeah, and a kind of game that we don't often talk about on this podcast that both of our wives, I know for a fact, like to play is board games.
Oh, yeah.
They both love board games, so either of you
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Either of you can talk really quick about if there are types of board games that you like and what you like about them. If I kind of sandwich that in there. Surprise!
I've been obsessed a little bit lately with Codenames, which is a thinking game. It's like a game of associations, and it's nice because it's, I think, pretty easy to learn but it's fun to play with a group of people, and you don't all have to be nerdy, even though I like nerdy games like Munchkin and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like strategy games like Munchkin and Bonanza, things that, you kind of have to think about a little bit, and you have to kind of anticipate things. It's a fun little brain exercise, so I like that.
All right, I'm going to ask a question that I added to the notes after you guys perused them.
Sneaky.
So, I am a little sneaky. So, the context of this question is Macy has sometimes expressed the desire to leave Dan alone. She wants her time to, read or watch shows, and then Dan gets his time to play games, and it's kind of cool. So, what I wanted to ask Alex was, do you enjoy when I leave you alone? Is that mentality in your brain, or do you still kind of rank my desire to play games as offensive because I want to do something not hanging out with you? That's
a tough question because there are times when I feel both. Sometimes I do want to be left alone, and that I feel like the older I get, the more that's happening, especially being a mom and never really having alone time during the day. So sometimes that makes me starve for adult time and makes me want to really spend time with you, and sometimes it makes me just want to be left alone and be quiet. So I don't know. There's really not one way to answer that.
So we wanted to transition a little bit. Thank you for all of your answers. It's awesome.
Yes.
Good learning time for both Penguin and Termite. We wanted to transition a little bit into some more groupish discussion questions, something that we all can kind of chime in on as we see fit, and sort of talk about, are there any games that you think, you being all of us, think that are conducive to building and maintaining relationships? Are there any games that are bad for building or maintaining relationships? So what kinds of games are good and what kind of games are bad for maintaining relationships?
I'd say, even just thinking about friendships, or if two people are in a relationship and they both like video games, anything that you can play with somebody, I think that naturally lends itself to potentially improving your relationship with that person. Things that you can share and be excited about, talking about the storyline with your significant other, and it's nice when that person expresses interest too. I know that sometimes Daniel will come to me and he's like, "Let me tell you about this crazy twist that just happened," and I'll try to be interested, but sometimes I am interested, and sometimes I think it's cool hearing about some of those things that he finally killed, and I think being able to show that you're proud of them for that achievement, even if you don't get it. Like, I don't get it either, Alex, but I think that's something that is helpful. That's not really about a certain game, but yeah. One thing I will say though is if there are games out there that you can just pause, and it's just a regular pause, or a safe zone, like more safe zones, people. We need more save points. Like, that drives me crazy when I'm like, hey, dinner's happening now, and it's like 10 minutes later because there wasn't a safe zone or whatever.
99% of all video games you can just suspend.
Daniel
right
is
away.
in trouble.
No, hang on, because I'm guilty of this too. I am totally guilty of this too. I need to have my own mental break. I need to have a spot where when I pick it back up, I know where I left off. If you just stop the action right now, if I leave for 2 days and come back, I won't have a clue what I'm doing. So I'll die, or I'll be lost in the story, or not really know what I was doing, especially when you're a trophy hunter like myself. So there needs to be a clean break. When I load this game up at this point, I know where I was, what I did, and where I'm going to go.
Yeah, I would say that along those same lines, pausing a game, he's right. In most games you can pause and suspend, but I'm surprised at how many games still don't have autosave features, or still use something like save points. It's important for me that if I have to really quickly turn off the game to help her with something, that I can get back to it and I don't have to worry about losing progress. But there's so many games where it's they still rely on either a checkpoint feature or a save point feature, and I'm like, I just gotta get to this spot. Like, it happened to
Sounds
me.
like another topic for another episode.
Yeah, for real. It happened to me in Senua's Sacrifice. Like, my family was coming out, like, I just want to get to a point where I want to do these stupid puzzles over again. And I got there, and it was good, but...
he could have stopped.
But I could have. But I would say it is harder from the guy's perspective, or the gamer's perspective, to be like, when you don't have a way of either pausing or saving easily, it can be very challenging to have to, put it down on a moment's notice. So I would say designers, developers, more games like that are more attractive to Penguin and Termite.
Yeah. Nice little digression there. I like it.
Did you have any thoughts, Alex?
Yeah, I agree. Just things that aren't too hard to step away from and that don't completely absorb, unless it's something you can play together. Like me and Danny played WoW. I don't think that I would approve of Danny playing WoW if I didn't also like to play with him. So, because that's the kind of thing that can just be really all-consuming, and you have to do this raid or that. You have to finish this dungeon or whatever.
That's exactly why I never got that far into it.
Right.
I have to do my garrison, my daily quests.
Oh, I make fun of him so much. My garrison!
Yeah. And just, I really like being able to have us just sit and do our own thing in the same room. So like Danny playing a game and me doing something that can also be interrupted, like reading a book or working on some classwork, and I can still sort of pay attention to the storyline and we can sort of interact and talk about it. Just kind of like a laid back thing that's not super intense.
Some very specific examples that we recently played through are South Park, The Fractured Butthole, and we played through... South Park is awesome. We played through Firewatch together, and we played through Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Yeah, story-centric games.
They're very
Those are
story-centric.
fun.
So Alex is plugged into the storyline, and we're talking about it outside of the actual experience.
Yeah, something that I think that a couple people hit on that I think is important to this topic is I think that strong experiential games are really good, because and the example that comes to mind is Journey. Sitting down, and I think you had mentioned that
we played together.
Yeah, that Alex watched you, and I think that might be something, Macy, you would be interested in at some point playing with me, because it's very simple. It's just there's no immediate danger. There's no...
Am I going to fall off bridges like I do in Halo and
but you don't,
Mario?
But you don't die when you fall off the bridge. You just kind of have to get back to where you were.
Yeah,
so
it's a frustration-free game almost.
Yeah, and it's just, and what is compelling about it, again, what's supposed to be compelling about it is the experience, is the journey, if you will, is you're just wandering around. It's very colorful, very artsy, and so I think experiential games, I think that maybe not for you, but different couples might enjoy a game like Senua's Sacrifice. I would watch someone play that game because it's just so compelling, it's just so engrossing, and it's an experience. It's more of an artistic thing. It's more like watching a good movie or seeing a play together than just... We often talk about how games are art and what they can be on this podcast, and I think that that's an example of how, in the same way that a play can make you think and give you a catharsis, I think that there are some video games out there that are good for that, and when you do that as a couple, again, relationships are often built on shared experiences, and so sharing an experience like Journey or Senua's Sacrifice together is something that I think could be really good for relationship building. Mm-hmm. Cool.
What is the opposite? Games that are bad for relationships.
In my relationship, any game that requires her to jump off of bridges or fall off of bridges or have to maneuver. I mean, just anything that's competitive, and I think that competitive games can be bad for friendships sometimes, much less relationships.
I also think the classic games that, not classic as in retro and original, but games with stories that have someone like a knight going to save a princess. Luckily, the Zelda games have kind of steered away from that, but just, we don't always, as women, we don't always need to be saved, and we want to be a part of that adventure too. So I think that video games that are a little bit, they focus too much on, saving that princess.
Damsel in distress.
So, yeah, sometimes that can be damaging, because it also, I remember when Daniel and I first started dating, it's I think that's how he viewed me, as this princess, and I think that as we have gotten older and he sees more of my flaws, but we're working together to go through life. But so sometimes that gave a unrealistic expectation of a love adventure.
Macy went meta on us, man. I was expecting like
so much.
This type of game is bad. She just like decided, nope, these types of games have shaped a bad paradigm.
Super deep.
I am all about the strong female protagonists that we've seen in most titles last year alone. Like 2017 has been this massive resurgence of it's awesome.
I mean, Year of the Woman, 2017.
Yeah, even Princess Zelda, who kind of did suffer under that archetype for a lot of games. Like the most recent title, Breath of the Wild, we got to see a very independent, strong-willed, take action, save the day
was the
kind
leader.
of Zelda.
Everyone was like following her around, and she was leading everyone, gathering all the forces to like take this on. Even Link was kind of this.
Yeah,
like,
she saves Link. The whole point of the game is that you start off the game because 100 years ago Zelda saved you, which is
it's pretty awesome.
Turns the whole paradigm on its head. So that's awesome. Cool. We have just kind of one last question that's kind of a both discussion, but we'll start with the ladies. What advice would you have for women in relationships or seeking relationships with men who play games? Alex.
I think for any relationship, whether it's with a gamer or not, you have to be open about what your needs are, and just, I mean, communication is kind of like it's like a trite term now when talking about marriage, but it really is important just to be honest about how you feel and about what you need from them, and don't be too negative all the time, but just let them know, just to let them know what you need from them and what you appreciate about them. Just encourage them where they're doing well, and try to just kind of see the gaming as something that is just something that they do. I mean, it's something that's important to them, but it's really not them. And if you can see it kind of taking control of their life, then that's definitely a point of concern. But I think that the two of you, Penguin and Termite, are actually good examples of the fact that it doesn't have to be that way. Gaming can be a hobby, it can be a legitimate hobby, and it doesn't have to be the old stereotype of sitting in mom's basement playing video games. So just don't be off put by the fact that somebody plays video games. See if you can get involved with it. See how they are with it, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a problem. I mean, it can be a problem, just like any kind of thing that you can get consumed by and addicted to can be a problem. But I don't know, just keep your wits about you, and don't just be off put by the video game thing.
I'm gonna play video games in a basement. It's gonna be my own damn basement that I paid for. Yeah. Macy, what are your thoughts?
I think that for both people, it's important to be attentive to those other person's needs, and thinking about, okay, can they realistically help me with something, or have they just had an awful day and need to unwind, or do they want to spend time with me, or do they not? And I think kind of giving some choices of how you want to spend your time together is helpful, but I think balancing the amount of time that you spend together and apart, and doing quality time things and things that are just mindless, and that's okay too. But I think that if you can balance your time well together, then it's okay if the other person goes off and plays games, because you just spent meaningful time with them, so it's not a big deal. So I think that, like anything, like what Alex was saying, communicating about what your expectations are for your time together, I think is helpful, and being able to just respect the need for mindless entertainment, or just a way to get away from the craziness.
Awesome, thanks. We're going to say for our last thing, we'll have the last word here, and we're just going to give some advice, some counter advice for male gamers who are seeking relationships with women, whether they're gamers or not. But just
I don't think it's counter advice, it'd be complimenting
complimentary advice. That's fine. What are your thoughts, Mr. Termite?
All right, so when I first started any relationship at all, gaming was back burner. It didn't matter. They're just games. They're not that big a deal. I don't need to play games ever. I don't need to watch movies. I don't need to read books. Like, the most important thing in my life is my marriage and my relationship with Alex, and that always is going to take first, regardless of anything else. And now that I'm a father, it's even more so with Sam. So video games are like back burner. It's my work. It's Alex and Sam, and then work, and then home chores, adulting, if you will. And then like games get that last sliver of time. So I love that the women have given advice about men, but now it's like, to me, to give advice to a man gamer or a female gamer is gaming should never trump your spouse or your significant other ever. You should always be attentive to their needs and figuring out what they want and communicating. Now, the word intentional comes to mind because if you are intentional with your expectations and you're intentional with this block of time is my gaming time, can I have it? And you're like scheduling or at least like structuring that so it's not impulsive, I think that would do leaps and bounds to your relationship to at least know that, oh, we talked about this. He wants to play this game for 2 hours tonight. Granted, that still has to be in the context of something else coming up and like you have to go do that or deal with it. So there's responsibilities that should never take the back burner to video games. Like they really are the dregs of my time.
Yeah, I think the biggest advice that I would have is just check in. Like, check in with them. Say, hey, is it cool if I do this? You know? Like, and then be okay if it's not. Like, be willing to, like Termite said, put the relationship first and say, no, she wants to do something else. She wants to go out. Like, we're going to go out, you know? Like, it's not being pussy whipped or anything like that. It's not being like
so much for the family friendliness.
Sorry, but I mean, but legit. Like there are men out there that would make that accusation, and it's not the case. It's just simply trying to like acknowledge that this person means something to you, and if you actually want to keep the relationship, you'd be wise to like and that. Hopefully, unless you're in any kind of abusive relationship, hopefully that will, return dividends. Hopefully if you attend to her needs, then she'll be like, okay, cool, you know what? Have some game time. Have that day and play some games.
You both just literally said the same thing. You just had some attentive time or whatever you wanted to call it. And now it's okay to do your own thing.
And then just the other thing, too, is just be aware that you're going to screw up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to, there have been times in my relationship where I have prioritized games in a way I shouldn't have. And it's like be able to forgive yourself, and then also be able to ask forgiveness from your wife or from your girlfriend, and just say, hey, look, I'm sorry I put you first, or sorry I put games first. What can I do to make up for it? Like, how can I, So it's just kind of being gracious with yourself, and then also hopefully your spouse or girlfriend will be gracious with you in turn. So yeah, those would be my advices. Those would be my advisings. Advisations. So that's our conversation for the day. Thank you so much to Macy and Alex, our wonderful wives, for joining us and showering us with their wisdom. Where can the good people of the internet find you, or not find you if you don't want them to find you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's Maceface52.
All right. Alex, do you want the good people of the internet to find you?
No, I don't want to be found.
All right.
I'm off the grid.
All right. That's perfectly acceptable. You know where to find us. You can find us on Instagram at 80bit Podsmash. You can find us on Twitter at 80bit Podsmash. You can find us on Facebook at 80bit Podsmash.
Oh, and we have a subreddit.
And
guess what the subreddit's called?
Something else.
80-bit Podsmash.
80-bit Podsmash.
All lowercase, nothing, very easy to find. And 80bitpodsmash.com is our capture website for if you want to find us.
Yeah, and any of those things, please throw us a comment, let us know your thoughts. If you don't want to make your thoughts public to the internet, you can send us an email at 80bitpodsmash@gmail.com. You can send us a private message on Facebook. We want to hear your thoughts, whether you want the rest of the world to know it or not. Please share with us your relationship stories. Share with us how you make your relationships work with your spouses. And tune in next week for our next episode, where we'll be talking about another subject.
Yeah, we already forgot.
It's cool. We'll know by Monday.
We have them planned, I promise.
It's cool. But thank you so much, Internet. See you later.